So, the highs and lows of the Panthers season continues. After a tough loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers at home, after pushing the Protect the Bank slogan, they now find themselves in another precarious situation where you have to win in order to give yourself a chance. And this week, we'll talk about it again. You're listening to Money in the Bank. The challenger this week is the Detroit Lions, and this is a team that is they're about as confusing as their record. They're a 7-7 team, and they play like a 7-7 football team. While they have one of the best offenses in football, they've been playing some of the best offensive football in the league probably the last month of the season. They are also a defensive liability that does have great potential to be a solid defensive unit. Now, here's why I say that. Guys like James Houston, a 6th-round pick out of Jackson State that's burst onto the scene the last few weeks. I mean, wasn't even activated until I think maybe like a month or so ago. And you had guys like Aiden Hutchinson, which is the number 2 overall pick, who was performing admirably this season, this in his rookie season. Those two guys have been able to, get things going as of late to create a nice pass rush for the Detroit Lions. But here's the thing: they're both young, they're both rookies, and I don't feel as if what they do heavily impacts the game because 7 sacks by Hutchinson, which is good for a rookie, and a 4 by James Houston, which in the last few weeks has been on a decent tear as of late, is not consistent enough for me to feel like that's an impact on this game. I do feel that our tackle should be able to handle it, but there's going to be everybody's going to have their moment in this game. Getting to see Aiden Hutchinson versus Ike Ekwonu and Taylor Moton is going to be fun, especially his matchup against Ike. Those two guys being top 10 picks in last year's draft. James Houston also being a guy that helps create havoc, and how we'll have our chances. We'll have our chances to see if he's a legitimate guy and if he can pose a threat in this week's matchup. But the biggest thing here for Carolina is that you're facing a defense that statistically ranks the lowest in 2 categories that you should care about: passing yards and rushing yards. They rank in the bottom half of the league. They rank in the bottom 5 against the pass. They rank in the bottom 10 against the run. That's something you have to look at and say, we should be able to have our way offensively, you would think. But the issue here is that we're still dealing with a play caller that I don't think any of us truly believe in, or truly believe that he'll put together a game plan week in, week out that'll have us be able to take advantage of a defense's weaknesses. Being able to run the ball is going to be key, of course. That's the game plan for us every week, no matter who we play. But I will say, if we are getting to a point in this season, it's 3 games left in the year. You're 5-9. If you win out, you make the playoffs. If you don't, then you know what happens. You go home. We've done that for the last 5 years. Nothing new. But I will say that the idea that Carolina, to me personally, it feels like the brand of football Carolina's playing, even though it is to their strength, you're trying to backdoor your way into the playoffs without really taking it. Like, go take it. Darnold made some plays last week vertically down the field. I think you have to look at it and say, look, if we want to have an offense that can legitimately compete against good competition, we're going to have to trust that Darnold can push the ball down the field, and hopefully he can trust himself to not turn the ball over, and we can trust our young wideouts to start making plays. Terrace Marshall has started every time he's made a play, it's been down the field. He is coming along as a deep ball threat. Not a deep ball threat in the sense of he's going to blaze by whoever's in front of him, but he's great with the 50. He's the best receiver we have for the 50-50 ball right now. We don't have tight ends that create offense for us. Our running game isn't so glorious, and it's not so glamorous that it gets it done in a pretty way. And it doesn't have to be done pretty, but there's plenty of times when we run the ball with Foreman where there's only a 2-yard gain, but we'll run the ball like that to set it up for later on in the game. We know we're running the ball to be able to just continue to axe away and grind in hopes that at some point the bow will break and we will be able to have our way in the run game and start picking up 5 to 6 yards a pop and get guys like Hubbard going, get guys like Blackshear in the mix. For Carolina offensively, you better have a day because you're going to need it. And for the Panthers defense, boy, oh boy. All I can tell the defense right now, bro, keep your eye on the prize. Meaning your eye discipline better be A1 if you want to have a chance against this Detroit Lions offense. I watched their game against the Jets last weekend. And what they're able to do is create chaos with their play design. I mean, getting guys in motion, obviously forcing you, using high-low combos to force you to, respect the deep ball and taking it underneath. Jared Goff isn't a guy that the deep ball isn't his specialty, but he's a quarterback with great touch. So he can make throws when necessary. And you best believe that if you give him an opportunity to hit you over the top, the same way you gave Mr. Trubisky the opportunities last week, he's going to pick you apart. What we did last week will not work, of course. It didn't work last week, and we're going to have to be better this week. On the ground, what I saw from them against the Jets, and specifically at Jets defense, because I know that's a great defensive unit. Well, it's a good young defensive unit, right? They were able to do enough, and I think what the enough that it was for them to get past the Jets will be more than enough against us if we don't bring our A game. So I mean, obviously our defensive front is where we're gonna have to rely on. Is where we're gonna have to shore things up the most. Can Brian Burns create chaos? That's the key thing, and our linebacking core in the passing game. Can you show up? Can you play a vital role? Can you help us out? For a secondary that's banged up with looking like no CJ Henderson for another week, and a secondary right now, well, a cornerback room right now that's very thin as far as talent and experience goes. We're gonna need some help from other areas, man. I mean, like I said, J.C. Horn, of course, is who he is, but the matchups that we need in this game, we don't have. I mean, obviously, Amon-Ra St. Brown, of course, a guy that works out of the slot, a quick, fast guy. That's not an ideal matchup for a guy like J.C. Horn, right? That's an issue. Jameson Williams, still a guy that's coming in. I mean, obviously, he missed the majority of the year. He's still a guy that's getting his NFL legs underneath him. But still a guy you have to account for. Not necessarily a guy you game plan for just yet, but a guy you're gonna have to make sure you know where he's at when he's on the field. That speed is legitimate, and you obviously gonna have to see him against guys like Miles Hartfield because of where he lines up. And I don't know if you like those matchups or like those odds more, for the majority of the game. Yeah, man. The biggest thing I'm looking at from Al Holcomb is get creative in how you get to the quarterback. Because you're not going to you didn't get to the quarterback last week and it cost you, even with all the blitzing that you did. If you don't do it this week, you go ahead and pack it up. The playoff hopes are done. I mean, Wilkes already said, don't worry about playoffs. And I'm right there with him. Because if you cannot create a pass rush in this game, I don't know what to tell you, man. You ain't got a shot. You really don't have a shot. If you're asking me what I think the prediction is going to be for this one, I'll just say this. I gotta go back to my old ways, man. I tried positivity off the sides, and I tried, optimism and all that good stuff. You know what I learned? Better how I am. So I'm gonna lean toward the Panthers' loss because I don't know where your stops come from. I don't know how your defense comes out in this game. And if I had a better sense of how our defensive unit would come out, I could tell you definitively that we will win this game. But because I don't know that, because the Lions do put so much stress on your back end, and that's the part of our team right now that is hurting badly, I don't know, man. I had to be realistic, man. I just don't know. I don't know if we get enough from Sam. Even though we're facing a bottom 10 unit in defense, I don't know if the game plan opens up and if Sam plays well enough. Honestly, can we win the trenches? That's what it's going to come down to at the end of the day. If we can win the trenches, we'll win the game. That's the big deciding factor in all of this. But now we're facing a team right now that's playing their best ball. They're peaking at the right time, right when it's time to make a playoff push. They are playing their best football, and we are a team right now that's still at this point, 9 games into the Steve Wilks tenure, still trying to figure out ourselves. But nonetheless, it should be a fun game. It should be entertaining, and it will be Christmas Eve. So no matter what happens, enjoy your families, enjoy some great football, and keep out. With that being said, you know what to do. Follow us at P1N_network on Instagram and on Twitter. Follow our parent page at Panthers Nation with the one where the I's supposed to be, because you already know what time it is. So with that being said, I'm out.